Welcome back to Ask Devin Anything, everyone. It is the Christmas season. 'Tis the season to wear red, and wish you all happy holidays, and hope that you are with your families during this time, or planning on, getting to your families here in the next couple weeks. So, exciting stuff, and we're not going to let the holidays slow us down, are we? All right. We've done so good all year to get to this point. All right, we can't stop now. We don't want to let these few weeks here, all right, sabotage us. I remember back in the day when we first started, we did this holiday survival kit, and it was the 21 days. I looked up a bunch of statistics. It was the 21 days between Thanksgiving and New Year's where people would gain on an average of 8 pounds back. And this was a study that was done back in 2012. I don't know what the statistics are today, but I can't imagine they're that different. And, it's because of all of the things that are introduced to us, the parties, the cookies, the cakes, the Thanksgiving dinners, the New Year's Eve, the weeks off work where we maybe get to sit around and, maybe we wouldn't normally, booze on like a Tuesday or a Thursday or something like that, but your family's in town and we're going to talk a little bit about that today. I have my first question, is how do you handle the holidays? All right, I'm going to answer that question. Number 2 today is going to be, when faced with failure, what do you fill the next days with to recover mentally and improve physically? And finally, number 3, do you ever take rest days? So we're going to cover those 3 things. And listen, so this episode of Ask Devin Anything is we're getting into like the 5th or 6th or 7th or 8th one now. I don't know. But all I know is that I'm here for you guys every Thursday. Please go to Apple Podcasts. Leave a 5-star review. All right. Flex on the subscribe button. Make sure that every Thursday and every other day of the week, because we drop podcasts every day, that you get a notification if you're subscribed to the Apple feed. All right. Burn Boot Camp Podcast. Anywhere on the planet, you can search any search engine, pull up the Apple, leave us a 5-star review. We'd really appreciate that because we love making this for you. We love hanging out with you. Why do we do this? Let me just answer that question really quickly. Why? Because Morgan and I want to make sure that you can take Burn Boot Camp outside of the 4 walls of the gym with you, and that you can also do the mental and the emotional and the spiritual and the financial reps necessary. Because in the gym, we are doing the physical reps, and I know that you're showing up, all right? And, I hope that if you are from like another brand or whatever, like that, I want to be the guy, and Morgan wants to be the gal that leads this industry and champions fitness overall. And it's just the Burn Boot Camp podcast, because we make it for our people, our 5,000 people that are a part of this organization, and the greater 100,000+ that are members inside of our organization. And so if you happen to be here and not be a member or a part of our team, welcome. We welcome you with open arms as well. But I really do this for you guys, for our members, as I get to travel the country and we get to meet and create relationships. There's nothing that I love more than to hear how the podcast or the book or any other content that Morgan and I produce on behalf of your wellness that you enjoy. So keep telling us. The best place to do that is on Apple Podcasts. 5-star review. Leave us a little comment, and we'll go from there. Okay, so question number 1. How do you handle the holidays? All right, let's talk about it. So I'm going to give you a recap of my 21-day holiday holdout program that we did back in 2013, okay? 2013, I remember I had a shaved head. I put on a white button-up collared shirt. I did a little prom pose. And I took a picture, and then I went to Microsoft Word. I imported that picture, and then I did all my graphic design on Microsoft Word. And for those of you who are designers out there, you know that Adobe is the platform in which you do that on, not Microsoft Word, because it looks corny. But I don't regret it, because it got us the jump start, all right? And that 21-day holiday holdout program, I know some of you still remember it, was legit, all right? So here's what we did. It was 21 days. All right, and what we asked people to do for 21 days was to move their body daily for 45 minutes. That was number 1. Move your body daily. Why? Because you can easily just get an excuse to say, I got a week here, a week there. But and you might, okay? But if you compound that week of not moving with all of the eating, so movement goes to 0 and eating goes to 100, well, that's not a good recipe. Our goal is to maintain, it's called the survival of the holidays, right? In a sense, we are basically trying to walk out with what we walked in with. And this isn't growth season for most of us, if we're practical. Some of you it can be. Listen, I'm not putting baby in a corner. I understand that, hey, you look at these 3 weeks as an opportunity to do what the 99% of people aren't doing and do the opposite, and that's turn it up a few notches during the last 3 weeks of the year, in the December weeks especially. And please, by all means, do not let my advice that is made for the practical everyday person, like, tamp your ambition. Go out and get it, all right? Go out and get it. So number 1 is move your body, okay? Number two is you get to pick one, okay? You get to pick one day out of the week where you have holiday rules, all right? Every day can't be a holiday rule. Listen, every day is not a holiday. There's Thanksgiving, there's Christmas Eve, Christmas, or if you celebrate a different religious holiday, there's the equivalent of those. And there is also like the New Year's for most of us. So you basically got 2 or 3 or 4 holidays in there, whatever you celebrate, right? It doesn't really matter. What really matters is that there's 4 days that are in there, or 5 or 6 or 7 or whatever your religious holidays denominate, but it's definitely not 21 straight days, okay? So you don't treat every single day like it's a holiday, all right? And make sure that you do have some discipline. You can't let all discipline go out the window, okay? We have to kick our discipline up a notch when everyone else around us is wanting us to indulge, okay? All right, and then the last thing that can really help you is when you are indulging to do it in an intelligent way, all right? It's called the 1 plate rule. You've seen maybe some social media graphics and things like that of people like dividing their plates, and we've even done some of this stuff before, and you want to put protein on this side and carbs on that side, and only greens on this side, and maybe your starch carbohydrates go here. That's not what I'm talking about. What I'm talking about is, y'all, 1 plate, not 2, not 3, not 4, not 5. Stop going back for seconds, thirds, fourths, and fifths, all right? All grandma wants you to do is just eat 1. Okay, and she also doesn't need you to pile it all the way up to the top in order for her to feel satisfied, because isn't that why a lot of us overeat on the holidays, or at least the excuse, that we give ourselves to unlock that world is, my family makes all this food, or I didn't want all this food to go to waste. Great, don't let it go to waste. Eat 1 plate. Eat 1 plate. Don't eat 5, all right, and control yourself. Here's a little trick though, a little tip. Now, and this might bring you back to your college days. Some of you who happen to live college life for a couple years will know that, and you'll remember this now that I'm saying it, you'll remember that, hey, when you really went out and you drank or you had alcohol, all right, that alcohol, in essence, dominates the liver enzymes and basically shuts off the liver from being able to metabolize, process any other food. So if I'm going to drink alcohol, all right, what that's going to do is shut down my liver. Anything that goes into this old gullet right after that, all right, think about it this way, is magical body fat. Think about it that way. So you might remember from college, you might go out and have like an all-day, all-nighter, and then, you're eating food and you maybe had, a big Subway from Subway, and then you had a sub from Subway and like some pizza and like whatever. You did the college, post-drinking binge. All of that food stores as body fat the next day, and you literally wake up like 3 or 4 pounds heavier, and it's not water weight, right? It's like body fat, right? And so not that all of it metabolizes that quickly, but you get what I'm saying, is that when you drink a lot of alcohol, right, what I want you to do is put the candies, cookie, bread, cakes down. This is a great little hack for you, okay? If you're going to drink alcohol and you know it, anticipate that you're going to drink alcohol, have a really big breakfast, have even a really big lunch. Make sure you don't eat for like 4 hours, and then you're going to consume a few drinks, all right? And if you do eat very light. Eat like light salads and things like that. Now, that's also going to limit your alcohol consumption, because if you don't want to drink 5 or 6 drinks on a semi-empty stomach like that. So that'd be my best tip: is moderation, anticipate the alcohol intake, and then have breakfast and lunch as a solve for it. Okay. That's how I really handle the holidays. Other than that, enjoy yourself. Enjoy time with family, right? What we're trying to do is survive. We don't want to put the 11 months of work to shame because we were unable to be disciplined, or we gave ourselves a hall pass for 3 weeks thinking that like, oh, it couldn't be that bad. Y'all, it will be that bad. If you let it all go and you let all discipline out, it's going to be bad. Okay, you're going to gain 10 pounds and you're going to be pissed off come January when it's time, to really take a look at the progress that you made year over year, and you make none collectively, although in December you were in the best shape that you've ever been in. We do not want that to happen to you. Realize that holidays are every single year. You can't get surprised by the holidays. The holidays can't really creep up on you. I mean, they're on the calendar for 2023 already. So let's start to anticipate the events that we have in our life, and let's start to make a healthy plan for them. If it means a lot to you, and I think that it does, that's why you're here, then I think you'd want to look ahead a few weeks and just say, all right, let me slow down, let me look my head up, and let me game plan for the holidays so that I don't render all of my effort in terms of how I feel and my energy and my body fat useless, okay? You're not going to get rid of your muscle that you've gained over the last several years because you have 12 too many cupcakes over the holidays, all right? We're talking a body fat scenario. We're talking an energy scenario. We're talking about not gaining some of that confidence not losing some of that confidence that we've gained over the last 11 months. You guys feel me? All right, let's go attack these holidays, okay? Let's do it. You got this. I believe in you. Okay, number 2 for the day. This comes from Nicole. Nicole Maria. Hi, Nicole. How are you? When faced with failure, what do you do the next days to recover mentally and improve physically? This is such a great question. She said, when faced with failure, what do you do to fill the next days to recover mentally and to improve physically? So I'm going to answer this in a story that was personal to me. And obviously, all I have is sports metaphors, guys. I got to get my metaphor game up to help teach you guys better. But all I really know is sports because I spent my entire life chasing the big league lights from the time that I was like 5, swinging a baseball bat with big poofy blonde hair to the point where I got released from the San Francisco Giants in 2011, late 2011, early 2011. That time for me was very important in terms of answering this question, because in high school sports and in college sports, I never watched tape. I didn't go back and I didn't look at tape. And then when I made the professional ranks, I looked at tape all the time, after every game, okay? And it was especially important to look at the tape after you failed, or after I would go out. I was a closer or a long reliever in the professional ranks, and I would go out, and the times where I would need to watch tape the most are the times when I gave up the game in the 9th inning, or I gotten myself into trouble, or a situation where I could have learned from. And, there was a scenario, Manny Machado, some of you might not know Manny Machado. He was a third baseman at the time. He played with the New York Mets for a long time at third base. Not sure where he is today. But we were facing each other, and I had done pretty well against him. And he stepped up to the plate in the 9th inning at home. It was in the 9th inning at home, their last at bat. And he stepped up and hit a 3-run home run off me that went basically to the moon, and I think it's still going now. It's still in the air. If you watch that ball, it's probably still traveling. It's hit the ball so hard, I knew it was out of the park as soon as he hit it, and it was a walk-off home run. And he ran around the bases, like looking at me, like I'm about to go to the big leagues, and here you are stuck in the minor leagues, ha ha ha. And I was so frustrated. I was so mad. I felt like such a failure. It was a July 4th night, or maybe like a July 3rd night. It was right around the time where people pack the ballparks in the summer because of the fireworks and everything that the minor league teams do. And I was just so angry and frustrated. And I remember walking into the locker room the next day, just ashamed, and going to my film session. And I did not want to watch film. What I wanted to do was go back out on the mound and play again. I didn't want to rehearse what had went wrong. I didn't want to come to terms with reality. I didn't want to face myself in the mirror and say, now you're going to have to watch this embarrassing, shameful moment that you had over and over and over, and you're going to have to pick apart what to do with it. And I can remember to this day just really being drugged by my pitching coach through that one session. And what he kept telling me was, listen, you cannot throw this guy fastballs. Like, don't throw him fastballs. You're going to face him in a situation where we're winning because you were a closer or a long reliever, and we're winning or we're ahead, and he's going to come up giving you his best stuff. You need to give him your best stuff. And so what happened was we sat there and we watched other film of similar pitchers of how he couldn't see a slider. He couldn't really see good sliders that had what we call viper bite. He couldn't really see it. And sorry if I'm getting too deep for some of you that aren't baseball fans here, but I know that I had a viper slider, so it means it had a sharp bite to it. It wasn't like a curveball, big and loopy, and people could see it. It went at you and then went away from you very fast. And so I knew the next time that I was going to face Manny because I went back and I watched film, I knew that he couldn't hit the slider. So the next time that I faced that team, it was my first and only start in my professional career because they didn't recruit me to be a starting pitcher. One of our starters got moved up to the next level. The other one got hurt. They slid me in there and they said, Klein, you're going to start. And I'm like, wait a second. Like, you mean the game? Like, I'm starting the game? Like, I'm not going to sit here until the 8th or 9th inning and then come in? Like, yep, you get out there. You get warmed up. By the way, I hadn't started since high school, like my freshman or sophomore year of college, actually. So I get out there and I face Manny, and Manny goes 0 for 3 against me. I break his bat twice. I struck him out the other time. I pitched 6 and a third. That viper slider that I learned in that film session, that's the only pitch that I threw him, the only one. And he knew it was coming, and he still couldn't see it because he wasn't quite developed yet. And so I tell you that long story to tell you this, Nicole. When you are faced with failure, the next day you need to dive deep into it. As hesitant as you are to dive deep and to actually look at yourself in the mirror and look at those failures and say, hey, that's exactly where I failed, right there. Ooh, I shouldn't have thrown that pitch. I should throw this pitch. I shouldn't have done that yesterday in this conversation that I had with this person that went really bad. I should have said this. Or, man, I had a really bad, I didn't get the job that I wanted yesterday. I was so prepared. I thought I was going to get it. I interviewed really well. I knocked it out of the park. Man, it just didn't happen. I didn't get the offer. What the heck? You know, and these things happen to us all the time. And so when you're faced with failure, my best advice to you, as embarrassing, as shameful as it might be to face that failure, is to step up, okay, and face it. Because if you do, then you're a grown adult who faces their problems and looks at themselves in the mirror and takes accountability. The act of looking at it is the act of taking at least awareness, self-awareness. It might not be accountability yet, but it's at least self-awareness that you can look and see what you did. And if you don't look at it and see what you did, well, then you're turning the blind eye, and that's what children do. I didn't do it. It wasn't me. It was my brother. It was my brother. It was my sister. And you have a tendency to point blame. So dive deep. Figure out why immediately after. Don't wait 2, 3, 4, 5 days. Replay the tape in your head. I tell our trainers this all the time. This is why we do a feedback loop, a structured way of communicating right after our camps are done. Every location, every camp, and every trainer does this. We look at ourselves in the mirror as fast as we possibly can right after that thing that we just went on either succeeded or failed. That's the trick. Okay, it's not just when you fail. It's also when you succeed. You better believe I went back in my film session that next day and I watched myself just chopping off sliders to Manny and just breaking his bat over and over and over and over. And as bad as an embarrassing as this session was, where I saw him hit one out of the park, that ball that's still going to the moon, I felt my retribution when I finally went back and said, all right, now I get to spend this film session watching how I just dominated this very highly touted prospect in their organization. So that's my story of how you can have a failure or a success and then how you can watch tape the next day. And for me as a baseball player, that worked, and I hope that works for you as a human being in general, as a principal. But thank you, Nicole. That was a very good question, and I hope you enjoyed my little story there. And then for those of you who are not baseball people that don't get the metaphors, just comment below, give me your favorite sport. I'll make sure that I weave some other sports in there so that you get it. All right, last question, everybody, of the day. We have Ashley Sealand. Do you ever take rest days? All right, do I ever take rest days? Ashley, that is a great question, and the answer is not only do I ever, but I don't ever not take rest days. I think it's the way you phrase that question, you might seem a little hesitant to take a rest day. Maybe someone told you along the lines, hey, rest days are for the lazy, or I've heard that before, or don't rest, sleep when rest when you're dead. Okay? Those two pieces of advice probably aren't the best pieces of advice, and we should probably watch who we're taking advice from. And I can tell that we really need to have this conversation, because the answer to me is obvious, and it's yes, you have to take rest days. The body does not build itself during the actual act of exercise, right? What you're actually doing when you're in, like right now we're in the lab, right? What I do every morning when I get up, I come up here and I get after it. Sometimes I lift, sometimes I'll just do quick burst cardio, some burst training. But a lot of times I'm lifting, or at camp, a lot of times we're lifting on our 3 strength days every week. And what we're doing in that moment is micro tearing our muscle fiber. Okay, we're actually breaking down muscle. We're not even building it up. Isn't that crazy? So the act of building muscle, right, which is the most important act of working out, we're not here to burn body fat. Okay, body fat can be a byproduct of of your performance goals and how hard you push to reach your performance goals and how disciplined you are with your nutrition and your habits. All right, but we need to mix in, when we're talking about habits, we need to make sure that the number one habit is sleep, and the number 2 habit is recovery days. And so depending on who you are, and Ashley, let's just pretend that you're coming to camp like 4 times a week, okay? So if you're coming to camp 4 times a week, all right, I at least, at the very, very, very least for everybody, okay, I want you to take 1 day off, okay, if you're coming 4 times a week. If you're coming to camp 5 times a week or 6 times a week, all right, obviously take that day off. 6 times a week is not something that, to me, is sustainable for a long period of time, but you can sustain it in short sprints, right? So that's why I like to give ranges. I never like to fix myself in any amount of days of anything. So I'm taking anywhere from 4 to 6 days to actually train, and anywhere from 1 to 3 days to actually rest. And obviously those, coincide on a weekly basis. But there's some days where I'm on 4 days and resting 3 days. Sometimes, you guys, you'll go to a protocol at Burn, and it's a leg day mixed with plyometrics, and you're smoked, right? You got 45 minutes of training, but you're smoked for 72 hours after that. And those are the days where I just let my body recover for 2 straight days. Sometimes it's a Wednesday and a Thursday. Sometimes for me, it's a Sunday and a Monday. I cannot be rigid with the way that I live my life because of the entrepreneurial side of my life and how my life's very demanding, and I have some days all-day meetings for 4 straight days. Some days there's weekends where I'm working 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. on Saturday and Sunday. Sometimes I take days with my kids on a Tuesday because I was gone for a long weekend. And so for my personal lifestyle, it is very much a range. It's range specific for me. So 1 to 3 rest days, 4 to 6 training days. Most often it's 5 and 2. Most often it's 5 days on, 2 days off, and I usually never take those rest days back to back. But I'm just explaining what I do because that's what you asked, Ashley. And I think what's important is that you're incorporating days off that your body asks for off, right? If you go through a metabolic conditioning workout, we do 100 burpees, and in that Metcon workout, there was 5 rep max deadlifts. That's a workout where your body is just going to be trashed for like 2 days. take it off. All right, take it off. That's okay. I want to have a narrative of like pedal to the metal doesn't mean training so often that you're actually never allowing your body enough sleep, enough nutrients, and enough recovery time to actually go through that process that we talk about, protein synthesis, which is basically repairing, in a sense, your body's tears. You're micro tearing your muscle fiber when we are getting to hypertrophy with our strength training, and you definitely have to let the body repair. So I hope that helps, Ashley. Those 3 questions were awesome today. Happy holidays, everyone. I got my red on, and I hope that you do too. Celebrate with your family. Love your family. Reach out today. Tell someone how special they are. Maybe there's somebody in your life who's super special, and you've been treating them a little bit more normal than you probably should treat somebody in your life who's so special to you. Reach out to them. Write them a handwritten note. Stick it on their car. Stick it in their cubby at work, stick it on their desk at work. Maybe it's a little Post-it note you put on their lunchbox. Let somebody know specifically, not just I appreciate you, thank you, but specifically, why do you appreciate this person? What do they bring to your life that makes your life more outstanding and better? And that specificity, when you thank somebody or appreciate somebody for something they've done specifically for you, goes such a long way, and it doesn't seem surface level, and it doesn't seem that you don't care when you really do. So make somebody special feel special, and never, ever, ever let them feel normal. That's what the holidays are for. With all the gratitude from my heart, from my family to yours, happy holidays. We'll talk to you soon. Keep moving. 2 claps on 2. 1, 2.